Yeah, this show is really good. Every once in a while you come across an anime which is just fun to watch and your first impression of it is just that, fun. However, as you keep watching, it just connects with you. Bocchi the Rock is director Keiichiro Saito's ambitious project produced at Studio Cloverworks. Of course, airing in the fall of 2022, the same season as Chainsaw Man, Bleach, Mob Psycho and more, meant that this show would initially go under the radar for a lot of casual fans. The biggest exposure that this show received was in the form of clips on social media, gaining a lot of attention thanks to their immense meme potential. But this show is special, it really is. There's something unique about it. I like slice of life, it's my all-time favorite genre when it comes to anime. If I made a top 10 list, there would be more than one slice of life anime in it. But even within this genre, some shows are just better than others. And Bocchi the Rock is one such show. So what makes it so special? Well, there are many reasons. I wouldn't make an entire video on it otherwise. Right off the bat, this show is just fun. It appeals to the wholesome gland in your body, which I'm pretty sure is a real thing, and it balances its somewhat relatable comedy and outlandish visuals extremely well. The first episode seemed to be wild, but with the power of hindsight, the first episode was probably the most grounded one. The direction and the outlandishness increases with every episode. It's so entertaining to watch. Let's also talk about the characters. Bocchi the Rock is not that different from your standard cute girls do cute things show. The series follows Hitori Goto, nicknamed Bocchi. She has no friends, do you get it? She's lonely, do you get it? Of course, Bocchi is a loner, that's the whole point. She starts playing the guitar and later joins a band. I love how there's no concrete goal in her head. Playing in front of a crowd, having fans, making money, these are vague ambitions, and it's only natural for someone who just started playing in a band to not have a solid goal or a well laid out plan of action to attain the same. Her ambitions will naturally be superficial at this stage. There won't be a perfectly idealistic goal present. She didn't join a band purely for memory making purposes. Sure, that's a part of it, but that's not all. She joined a band with many haphazardly arranged and vague goals in mind. Some of these goals literally have nothing to do with music, and that makes this show relatable. It's not just the she doesn't have any friends, she's literally me aspect that's relatable. The lack of decisiveness that the characters initially have is also very realistic. Sometimes the effort that has gone into a project is obvious. The entire staff for Bocchi the Rock is extremely passionate about this project and it shows. That extra effort from the production team makes a mediocre show good and a good show great. The staff had a lot of fun making this show. About as much fun as you can have despite the atrocious schedules. All sorts of visual styles were used and a very bold approach, especially towards the comedy, was taken. From changes in the art style to actual live action footage thrown in, this show has it all, which is where the meme potential comes into play. This show is brilliantly animated, not just the goofy LSD visuals but also the serious aspects. The incredibly dynamic and lifelike performances, for example. These performances use real-life actors as a base for the animation according to director Keiichiro Saito. They provided these actors with instructions and told them how to act. For example, Nijika would make silent gestures towards Ryo mid-performance as they have been friends for a long time and it's their way of communicating. Stuff like that makes the characters feel like people instead of mechanical one-note plot devices. All of that is of course possible thanks to the character designs amongst other things. The character designs are fairly simple, which allows for a lot of movement. Thanks to these designs, the characters are actually animated. Animators such as Toshiyuki Sato, Hayate Nakamura, Akira Hamaguchi, and more can be thanked for the consistent and well put together visuals. The art direction is amazing, often going for a realistic look. Of course, we can't ignore the competent and wild storyboarding, which is handled by director Keiichiro Saito himself, as well as other people such as Toshimasa Ishii. By the way, Ishii also directed and storyboarded episodes 22 and 23 of 86. They are two of the best directed episodes this year, if not this decade. Long story short, Bocchi the Rock had a young, competent and passionate staff behind it. This team obviously goes that extra mile for this show, even when it comes to the music, which by the way is a lot of fun to listen to. These two performances featured the same song, but the vocals were more shaky in the second performance. It's a subtle change, but it gets across the fact that the performance wasn't that good the second time around. Little things like that makes a show feel special. Also, did I mention that this show is really funny, whether you relate to it or not? I know comedy is subjective, but this show is hilarious. The comedy is further accentuated by the outlandish visuals, whether it's Toshiyuki Sato's glitching bocchi or Kai Ikarashi's 4 to 5 insanity, or even the low polygon CGI Bocchi. They don't pull any punches with the visuals. I don't find comedy in anime to be particularly funny in all honesty. Watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood drop its 15th short joke is not funny. But again, Bocchi is an exception. This show consistently made me laugh, which is somewhat rare. I don't like using technical terms to describe what is and isn't good comedy. I just found this show to be hilarious. Despite the fact that most of the comedy revolves around the same gag, it still feels new, and we can thank the production team for that. Bocchi the Rock is a realistic show. How, you may ask? Well, it's all about the nuances. The way Bocchi sort of hangs in the background whenever the rest of the band is having a conversation. The way the band members have their own lives and don't get overly involved with each other. It's these little things, and in the long run, these subtle elements lead to better and more enjoyable character interactions. For a slice of life anime, character interactions are crucial since that is the main focus. These interactions are often between the same people, which can quickly get boring. Bocchi the Rock, however, is consistently entertaining. If the conversation on screen isn't anything special, they utilize the goofy, outlandish visuals. If the conversation is really engaging, they tone down the ridiculous visuals and allow the scene to breathe. The team has struck the perfect balance between the ridiculous visual comedy and the more subtle character interactions. The likable characters with a touch of realism, the competent storyboards and the phenomenal visuals, the good music, all of these factors lead us to that satisfying season finale. I love it when the final episode of a show is the culmination of every episode up until that point. Now in theory that should be a common thing, however, a lot of shows lazily slap together a montage of scenes from the previous episodes for no rhyme or reason whatsoever and call it a day. Very few shows actually handle this aspect well, and Bocchi the Rock is one such show. Think about it. Early on, Bocchi couldn't practice properly as she was unable to look at her bandmates, but by the final episode she played in front of a sea of familiar faces, and some of those faces were there to watch her perform in particular. She even improvised on the spot, and this growth wasn't abrupt, it was gradual. From performing with a cardboard box over her head to performing without one in an audition, from performing in front of a small crowd in an impromptu street concert to performing in front of an actual crowd, we saw her slowly break out of her shell. Of course, she's not all the way there yet, but you get the point. And just like that, this 12 episode long show came to an end. It started off as that fun cute girls do cute things show and ended as the same, but somewhere along the way, it made me care. It's not the final arc of an established franchise, and it's not the highly awaited adaptation of an extremely popular source material, but to me, it's much better. Beauty of Simplicity, I believe it's called. If it wasn't obvious already, I loved every second of this show. And as far as new anime goes, Bocchi the Rock is my anime of the year. The title wasn't clickbait. Overall, I'd still give that title to Attack on Titan Season 4 Part 2, but when it comes to new shows, Bocchi gets my vote. So that was it. Do you like this show? Comment down below. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and until next time.